What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Underdog Flight K Clutch K 24/7, and we are here giving you guys a nice unedited video. I know it's been a while since I put a video up on the channel, but we are back now, and we are going to keep rocking out with more content for you guys. And appreciate you guys for getting me to 900 subs on the road to 1K, and I'm hoping to do it before the end of the year. Let's get to 1K before the end of the year. Let's run it up now. Here in this video, I'm here to show you guys the best possible way to sit here and build up a team that is too old. You know, that really nobody wants these certain type of players, and the only way for you to get good players on your team is to trade your best pieces and things like that. So teams that is like very hard for you to sit here and rebuild. Let's start off with the Denver Broncos. The only player that they want on the Broncos is Patrick Surtain, and then possibly, if they are into running back, Javonte Williams. Other than that, they don't want anybody on their team. Let's go over to the Bucks. No, Cardinals. Buda Baker and Trey McBride is probably the only people on that team that they'll probably want. And if they wanted somebody fast, Hollywood Brown. It's very hard to rebuild certain teams like this, which keeps teams like this not able to be filled unless they are a fan of that team, or some people like me likes to actually use teams like this, rebuild them, and win a Super Bowl either next year or possibly this year. um Another team that is very hard to get rid of certain players, I feel like it's definitely the Giants. um Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, League Neighbors, literally just great players to use. Another person, Deontay Banks. A lot of people like Deontay Banks. This team actually has a lot of pieces that you can rebuild with, but you're kind of at a spot here where you could use these players and build around them. You got kind of a salary cap and things like that, but one good trade with a Dexter Lawrence could rebuild the whole team. One trade with Brian Burns could retrade the whole team. Bobby Kiriki could build the whole team. But it's still very hard to play with certain teams like this when you need like a well-rounded squad. Another team rebuilding, I would say, it's the Jets. The Jets got too many. I mean, yes and no. Like, they're great players. Some of them is older. You definitely gotta rebuild with Aaron Rodgers. It's definitely hard. But this is, at least you have pieces on the team to trade. Patriots, you don't got any pieces except for Christian Gonzalez. That's it. You don't have anybody else. Panthers, you got J.C. Horn and you got Derek Brown. Other than that, you don't have any pieces. Raiders, you got Max Crosby, Brock Bowers, Colton Miller. That's it. That's all you have, and they have hella cap. Um, Saints. It's kind of hard using the Saints unless like these five guys up here, unless somebody wants them. Cool, but they also are in a rebuilding state. There's a lot of players older, like Demario Davis. He's a 91 overall, but he's older. He's old. He's basically a win now person. With the Rams, the only people that they want is Puka Nacua, maybe Kyron Williams. I know he's 86 speed, but maybe Kyron Williams, and no, Tre'Davious White is on the Ravens now. Yeah, that's pretty much it now. Rams don't even have anybody really. They're like a win right now team, and then that's it. Titans got Ladarius Sneed, Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, Justin Simmons. That's it. That's all I got. Nothing else really standing out to anybody. So when you have teams like this, let's go ahead to a team that's like very deep in the dirt. Let's go to the Cardinals. Nothing against the Cardinals. Let's just use them as an example in Madden terms. So how would you rebuild this team if it was of a standard like the Cardinals? How would you go about using this team in an online standpoint? You basically look at everybody you have here. You look at everybody you have and see if anybody is of any interest to anybody else or any interest to you. If they do not have any interest to you, either you keep them and keep them there as a roster spot, or you're just going to have to take a year off, which is okay. Kyler Murray, he is still one of the fastest quarterbacks in the game, and he is still very good. He's 27 years old. I get it. If you got leagues where you have certain devs and things of that nature, easily can AR him, easily could put an ability on him, and you have one of the best quarterbacks in the game to use. Who else got 93 speed and can really do what he does? Like, he's still a very, very good quarterback. Especially if you need a quarterback to hold you over into the draft for next year. Kyler Murray is very good. James Conner, I know he's not a flashy pick when it comes to speed and things of that nature, but he's 89 speed. That's very serviceable. And he has really great break tackle. He has all 80 and above stats on his core stats, which is very good. He basically is a really great, not I wouldn't say budget beast because around 70 to 75 is like a budget beast, but he's a still good running back. Then you got Trey Benson. Trey Benson, a nice rookie. You can honestly build him up, have a nice running back core. Like if you go with a pistol or certain things like that, you could literally go through and do things like that. But really, you will see Sean Murphy bunting. If somebody wants to have a nice little slot cornerback or do something in that aspect, you can go ahead and do that. But I don't know. There's not a lot of pieces on here to deal with. So there is at least 3 things that you can do with this team to help you guys out. 1, don't do a thing with the team. You can literally not do a single thing to this team. The only person of interest you guys know is Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison, Kyler Murray, Trey McBride is probably the only guys, unless Paris Johnson. Paris Johnson's another person. A lot of people looking for O-line. You could easily trade your O-line pieces for draft picks. That's one thing that's very, very sneaky that you can do. If you can literally stay with these overall players like 74, 75, 68, 70 and still do very, very well. The only thing that doesn't really affect you having a low overall, I mean, the thing that does affect you with a low overall is possibly like the edge threats and double or nothings, things of that nature. But if you have very decent, like I've done it a million times when it goes to fantasy drafts where you don't need a big O-line in overall. You just get somebody that's a star, that's very young and has a low overall, you'll be fine. They'll build up into possibly this in the next year. He'll be completely fine. Great pass block and run block. He's very, very good. You could easily get him for a pick or 2. But that means you're going to got to get very lucky with the draft picks too. So it's up to you to trade all your O-line to get picks and then just run with what you got and don't really be upset about you not having that good of luck with the O-line, because you're gonna struggle with this team regardless. You're not going up against a Chiefs team and beating this team. You're just not. So you can literally rock out with the team that you got now. 2, you can completely at week 1 revamp the team. You say everybody's on a trade block. Nobody's safe. You listen to all offers, all of them, and the one that fits you the best with this works. So you could trade to keep or you can trade to flip. Trade to flip means you can trade a Buda Baker to somebody else that possibly has like a Justin Reed or another player or a pick and a player package for a Buda Baker because he got abilities and he can get very, very good abilities at 90 overall. He can get deep out, deep in, mid zone, pick artist, all that. He's honestly going to be still really good to trade for. You get a package to get somebody else in either different positions, 2 players in a pick, a player and some picks, or just straight out picks, and you can do it just like that. Trade Buddha, you can revamp this team the way that you need it. But you have to do that in preseason. Like as soon as you join the team, whole team on the trade block. If nobody hits you up, be like, okay, boom. Or just say, if you don't say Cardinals on the trade block in your Discord or whatever group chat you're in, say Buda Baker on the trade block. Possibly Marvin Harrison's on the trade block. I wouldn't save trade Marvin Harrison, but you know what I'm saying. You see all these pieces that gives you of interest to see if it could help you rebuild a team. And if you don't like what you have, you don't have to trade the players. You don't. Just build up with them. And all you really need, which I feel like is the best thing to do, load up your team with stars. I don't care what age they are. An ability is an ability. And that is what players need and want on their team. So you go to free agency, right? You'll go and find some of these players, let's just say 25, 26. Let's find a nice little a young wide receiver you can use. You can use like an AT Perry. You can use like some of these low overall players, but still very young. Build them up to get abilities and trade them throughout the season. Use this whole thing to basically be the middleman to help everybody else not do the what you call it, do all the work. I mean, you can sit here and definitely do that for yourself, but one thing you can do, get these players that have stars, get them up to superstar, then put them on the block. Be like, oh, you got an ability that you're trading, what you need for it. Now the value of that player goes up drastically. You get Trey McBride to a superstar, he will get you picks like crazy. He will get you a player in a pick like crazy. You could get a first for a Trey McBride. It is almost, I wouldn't say hard, but it's kind of, it's not random. It's rare to get a tight end with abilities right now in the game because it's very few that get abilities. So if you got a tight end with abilities and he's kind of like on a cheaper side than how a George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce is, do that. A lot of people is looking for tight ends with abilities. You get certain players and you get them with a breakout. Treat that breakout like it is your last game you ever gonna play. Get that breakout with a star def player. Get them to superstar. Trade them. Do that with the next person. Get them to superstar. Trade them. And it's gonna be a lot of force feeding. A lot of force feeding. So you're gonna have to feed them the rock. Get them with a lot of stats. Get them consecutive good games. And remember, when you have a breakout with somebody, that does not mean that's the end of the breakout. If you keep going with it, you could get from a normal to a superstar in less than 2 weeks. I've seen it with TD Barrett. You could get from a normal to a superstar in one game. This is the wildest thing I've ever seen. But if you really want to build a team up, you get Brandon Browning abilities. You get Jalen Thompson abilities. You get Sean Murphy Bunting abilities. You, at this point, don't be like, I don't care about the age. He's an ability. I need an ability right now. Some people is desperate. Some people will be like, okay, I know he's of age, but I'm not going to use him now. What you need to help me out right now? Or you could build up somebody real nice, like, like an Owen Papoy. He is 23. You get him all the way up to that ability that he needs. He's great. And then when you train him away and see how good of a season he is and then goes up in dev again for the end of the year awards, that's even better. But that's what you can do in week one, trade all your good assets that you have on a team that you think that you possibly don't need and build up some of the rookies and the young overalls that you got and do it that way. And what's one way to do it with a young player to get him up? I'm trying to see somebody on this team that I could possibly use as a good example. Let's just use a Trey Benson as example, right? You go to goals. I did a video with this before. But you go to goals and you see 13k XP. Force feed that rock to him. Get him that 26k XP and rock out. And then there's another one down here that I know to use. No, not MVP. I thought it's usually 3. Sometimes it's only just 2, which is fine. But also, when you're doing this, do not upgrade your players. I cannot stress this enough. Do not upgrade your players. You get one ability. You get one upgrade and higher their overall, their goal reward goes down. The higher the overall, the lower their reward is. So keep them at the overall you got. So you see he's at a 76 right now. If you upgrade him to an 80, that 13k goes down to almost like 5k. If that, I'm being generous. Do not upgrade them. Wait until you get the XP bar and get that out. That 26k matched with the 4. That's a good 5-6 upgrades right there. So that 5-6 upgrade is going to get him to like an 82, 83. But then, then you're going to get other rewards and everything of that nature. You keep playing with him well, and then he will go up even more with possibly a best running back, possibly offensive player of the year. So keep building these players up. Build players up to keep and build players up to trade. And you're going to get random breakouts. Do not think like, oh, I'm going to just do this for Browning, and then Savion Collins comes up. As long as you have a team full of stars and one of them gets a breakout and then you go for that breakout, get that superstar, trade them, it's basically now a system. And that's a system that you have to do in online leagues. to start building up interest for a lot of people. Some people will be like, don't even put an ability on them, or don't even matter. I just take them for this. Boom, take what you can get. Then when the next year comes and you draft and you got all these players, now you have a great foundation for teams just like this. And that's one way you can sit here and do it. So either trade all your players at the start and trade all the good assets at the start, rebuild from scratch, build players up, and then go to the draft, and then build those players up, and you already got a good foundation for what you need. Or build up everybody that you have here on the team now. Wait until they get breakouts. Wait until people show interest in them. Then trade them. Do it all over again. You're gonna have to do this anyway with a good team, but with these lower teams and with almost nobody wanting any of the players that you have, this is what you're gonna have to do. So that's majority of what you're going to do when you get to some bad teams like this. Like it's not going to be every single league you get to have a good team like the Falcons, or you get a good team like the Ravens, you get a good team like the Colts to sit here and have some lead way of where you can go with certain things. You're going to be stuck with some of these low overall, rebuilding teams, and it's going to suck. But you gotta do what makes. You gotta do what's right in the situation, and this is one of the best ways to do it. So if you guys enjoyed that, make sure you guys gonna leave a like, comment down below some other stuff you guys like to see. Subscribe if you guys are new, and as always, folks, peace out.